Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 2 in a series between Bly and Lucifron. Game 2 taking place on Ohana, and this is going to be interesting. Lucifron losing Game 1 from a proxy 2 racks opening that just did not open up very well at all. And I think Lucifron, if he had decided to go for just mass marines inside bunkers, he would have been much better off trying to fend off any serious attack coming in from those Zerglings and those roaches. Instead, he went down a tech path, tried to go into a quick factory, and things just started to unravel from there. Lucifron now making his way over to the front door, establishing a supply depot. Nothing too out of the ordinary. We should see a barracks and then a supply depot here in just a moment. Now, will Lucifron perhaps be going into a long macro game this time around? And macro games generally favor Zerg right now. Zerg players able to get into that magic 60 to 80 worker count much more quickly. Queens, also one of their greatest effects or their greatest benefits is that the fact that they can be trained without utilizing larvae. So very effective units there as well, and getting in 5 to 6 queens, as we are going to see Bly make his way down here and make sure that there is no proxy 2 racks. Surprisingly, he did not check up here, which is also a common location for a proxy 2 racks to come into play. Barracks already being added down. Lucifron going into a double racks here at 14, so he's going into double racks and should be able to place down a little bit of early pressure. He's not going to have his expansion up nearly as quickly, as Bly is going to catch sight of it, and he's not going to be able to freely power drone as much as he would like to. Alright, SCV taking a bit of damage, and now we are going to be going into some Marines as the drone should perhaps try to scout up. Bly pretty much seeing the double barracks on the front door. Most likely knows, oh, are we going to see the stutter step? One more shot should do it, and wow, beautifully done. Natural regeneration on a drone for the victory there, as Lucifron unable to catch up. Alright, we are training up 3 Marines at a time. Spawning pool should be done in just a moment. If not, the drones could be pulled, as the SCV now leading the charge and leading the way. The drone already back up to 11 hit points there. We are getting in more Marines, as the spawning pool is already about to be completed, meaning we should have queens and zerglings to deal with any early bunker pressure. Now, so far, Lucifron still sitting on 1 base, no surprise there. Decent SCV saturation, still training up more and more Marines, sitting at 25 over 27, needs to get more supply depots. And we'll see what the strategy is going to be. We see 3 Marines now making their way out, and there is 1 SCV on the high ground here. Oh, that would be a really interesting strategy, as the SCV now tries to get away. There are Marines, and the Marines are going to be able to 2-shot those Zerglings going after that bunker. The bunker is going to take a lot of damage if the Marines need to stutter step their way back. Are they going to be able to make their way out, as they are trying to dance around back and forth? Those 3 Marines will easily get killed and cleaned up, and now that there's a queen in play, Bly is going to be able to hold off any sort of aggression. So double barracks not effective enough, but we are now going into double command centers, as the Marines are going to be regrouping together. Key note, you do need 6 Marines in order to 1-shot a Zergling, but gonna be able to basically 2-shot those Zerglings there, and those Zerglings are gonna decide to back off. Now an Overlord is making its way in. It does spot, I believe, a refinery, but it does, oh, and it does spot the additional command center, so he knows that there is going to be a very strong SCV and mule count for Lucifron. What is Bly's strategy going to be at this point? He is sitting on 24 drones. He had to train up a lot more Zerglings than he would normally like to, and that is important. Being able to force a Zerg player to train up Zerglings instead of drones early on in the game is essentially every pair of Zerglings is a drone that could and would have been. So far, it looks like Lucifron going to be going into a very heavy bio play tech. He is getting that tech lab down, already has 3 barracks, and finally going into that factory. Now, Bly at this stage has still yet to build up a 3rd hatchery, which does come off as a bit of a surprise right now. But Bly, key thing to note, he doesn't have any gas here in his main base. He is just establishing gas here at his natural, So he's not going to be anywhere down the tech path. With his high mineral count and his high drone count, I would have suspected a proxy hatch or something to come into play already, where he can try and establish up a third base or at least have much more production. 8 drones still being trained at a time. Creep tumors are being placed down, and it is going to be a 2 or 3 racks play here. Now, one of the reasons why Bly may be just sitting defensively is he knows that Lucifron does like these early engagements. We are seeing Stim. We are going into a factory with a tech lab and going into a second factory with a tech lab, training up Hellions. So we could have Blue Flame Hellions here in just a moment. And yes, we are going to be having Blue Flame Hellions as we are going very heavy into drone production once more. 51 drones versus 34 SCVs. One Overlord sitting in between these two. And somehow the Overlord can spot the SCVs, but the SCVs cannot spot the Overlords. And Lucifron, yeah, cannot get any sight there. So Bly now going to be coming in, spots this Overlord. The Overlord most likely will get shot down here in just a moment. Bly gonna be able to catch sight, see the Hellion, see the reactor. Overlord does get taken down, but that is still, oh, a beautiful cancellation there and a beautiful tech switch. Blue Flame was canceled. And wow, Lucifron playing a very, very big mind game there. I don't know if he purposely wanted to bait Bly into thinking that he was going into Hellions, but he is not going to Hellions any longer. This orbital command now will be landing off here in just a moment. Zerglings looking to do a bit of scouting as one Hellion doing a little bit of a dance there, now backing away. You can see that there are 4 creep tumors being placed down. Bly is going to have beautiful, beautiful creep spread here on Ohana in just a moment, as the Zerglings are gonna deal with this Hellion most likely. The hatchery has already been scouted out, and now Lucifron looks to drive up the ramp. No, knows that there's most likely a spine crawler there, and simply gonna do a little bit of scouting and retreating and regrouping. Alright, siege tech about to be completed. You see banelings being added, and I believe Bly does expect, actually I don't know if he actually expects there to be siege tanks. I would believe that there would be less roaches if he did expect siege tanks, as we are also going into infestors. Now, coming into play, we are going into double racks, level 1-1 weapons upgrades off of double engineering bays. No armory to be spotted at all. Barracks are down off over here, and now we are running on 5 barracks production. Movement speed and pathogen glands being added as well. You can see that creep tumor spread starting to really, really spread out across the map. And with that creep tumor spread, it is going to give a significant movement speed advantage to Zerglings. And as many players know, movement speed advantage is always a tactical advantage in any type of war. Banelings going to be making their way in as well. The Banelings do not have movement speed upgrades just quite yet. Only move as fast as, almost as fast as stimmed Marines while on creep. Now, the Marines are grouped together here. Combat shield needs to get completed. The Marines are now pushing their way out against this Zelnaga tower. Quickly take it down and now hold control of the Zelnaga tower just to see banelings come in. Are they going to be able to pop those banelings? Able to pop some of them, but unable to split, knowing that those banelings most likely we're going to have that movement speed upgrade shortly anyways. Now, the front door here could be a dangerous location. Lucifron with 3 barracks on the front door. Will he be able to fend off the attacks that are going to be coming in? You can see roaches, banelings here, and now we are going heavy into siege tanks. 3 siege tanks now establishing up a 4th command center about the same time that Bly established up his 4th command center. Harvester count is 70 to 81. I will give a slight advantage to Terran at this point, since he does have 3 mules if he wants to utilize them. And now we are going to be going up against an army of infestors. Here we go, Marines trying to perhaps detonate those banelings, able to focus fire 1, 2, 3, 4 banelings. That was actually a very good trade for Lucifron, taking down that many banelings. Anytime that you can take down banelings without taking their splash damage, that is always going to be a huge, huge advantage. Lucifron now looking to siege and now clear up some of these creep tumors, denying any sort of movement speed advantage. Now, on a map like this where you see so many creep tumors out, you may just want to go for a Raven. a Raven being able to spot all of these creep tumors here. I believe all the units are just sitting on the creep, waiting for a scanner sweep to come into play. Orbital command not even going to be upgraded. That's going to turn into a planetary fortress. As there you go, another scanner sweep, cleaning up creep tumors as quickly as possible. In comes Zerglings and Roaches. There's a fungal growth, and Bly going to catch Lucifron in a very bad situation here, cleaning up this attack. Beautifully done, but Marines and siege tanks in the back, are they going to be able to, yes, defend a little bit, draw a line in the sand, and push those units back once more? There is one Zergling sitting underneath that command center. Apparently, Terrans have not found the ability to land on top of a Zergling and simply squish it. Alright, here we go. Roaches and Infestors now making their way, going to be trying to land. And are we upgrading to a planetary fortress? Yes, we are. The Marines now need to engage, and the Roach is able to simply one-shot one Marine there. Units still gathering together. No siege tanks up here on the high ground as of yet. This may simply get canceled as the units are now going to be coming back down into the center. Zergling's going to clean up a Marine here, as we do see siege tanks in a fairly good position here and protected by the wall. Zergling's now trying to come in and get us around, and those poor siege tanks are going to get destroyed. Lucifron taking a beating as Bly now goes into mass Zerglings. 42 Zerglings in production. Marines fighting back. The Roaches continuing their push in. And this is not looking good for Lucifron. Lucifron, however, has able to defend and hold the line here. The Roaches unable to finish off these last two siege tanks. And now we do have a planetary fortress here up on the high ground. That is going to be very difficult for Bly to really do anything about. Planetary fortresses very effective at dealing with Zerg, as we're going to see perhaps some creep tumors all get cleared up and destroyed once more. So creep tumors still up on the high ground, unable to get to the low ground here, and still trying to clean up more creep tumors here. Bly simply has so much map insight at this point, as we are now going into mass banelings, level 3 weapons upgrade, adrenal glands, and Ketonus plating. Yeah, Ketonus plating as well. We are going to be seeing perhaps Marines holding off here. Is it going to be able to take down the drone? No, the Marines, oh, simply melted away by banelings there. Nicely done, as we do have one planetary fortress up on this high ground. Harvester count is 79 SCVs versus 74 drones. Definite advantage now to Lucifron. Not exactly sure how he came out ahead in all of these engagements. And the siege tanks are only upgraded 1-0. Marines are upgraded 2-2. And we are seeing a new base being established here at the 10 o'clock position. Medevac now looking to do a drop. Pretty much can't fly anywhere without revealing itself, as there are creep tumors all across the map. Here we go. Marines should be unloading. Nope, they are not going to be. They are going to be unloading now. Lucifron trying to heal. All of those Marines will simply get cleaned up. And Lucifron not really doing any damage here, actually taking more damage in this engagement, as the Zerglings will soon be 3-2 upgraded, maybe even 3-3, and a very, very fast weapon attack speed. Banelings now making their way up as well. There are a whole bunch of medevacs sitting while not really escorting any Marines. Army compositions do show a higher tech path for Lucifron. Lucifron perhaps should be repairing these siege tanks. Siege tanks are very expensive units, and you do not want your siege tanks to be such glass cannons where one shot from pretty much anything at this point would take them down. We are seeing a sensor tower being established as well. Sensor tower acting as a little bit of radar range here. Perhaps we'll see some sensor towers established here and here to gain sight up over here. Roaches now, sorry, Ultralisk now trying to push in once more, and this army still moving around rather quickly. I am a bit surprised that Bly has not yet gone into, excuse me, he just went into it. We are going to see a greater spire with Broodlords, and without any Vikings out on the field, this is going to become a very, very dangerous matchup. Level 2 weapons upgrade now coming in. We are going into, I believe, more command centers. 2 additional command centers, in fact, 3 additional command centers, as the siege tanks are still rolling out. They are trying to get in position and then draw a line and do the slow push across the map. But they do not know that there is going to be an even stronger, slower push in Broodlords in just a moment. Broodlords, however, do take additional supply, and Bly is currently supply locked. Marines, Banelings, all just melting away. Siege tanks shooting up onto the high ground here. Perhaps they can position themselves here and be able to attack, or perhaps even from here and attack up onto the high ground. The Marines are trying to get gathered. There are Zerglings just running around the map. Marines and Marauders, or one Zergling down over here. Are we perhaps going to see a scanner sweep? The major attack force still trying to push its way in, and with siege tanks here on the high ground, the siege tanks will be able to start shelling the attack forces here. Where are all of Bly's units? So far, Queens are now getting taken down. Here's the engagement, and the Ultralists do not want to engage here. The Marines now trying to turn back around. Ultralists trying to get in a good flank, but they're just doing a little bit of a Congo line, taking a lot of damage. One Ultralist gets taken down for pretty much no effect whatsoever, but the Broodlords have now arrived. Siege tanks now need to splash away at those Ultralists. Marines and Marauders are just dancing back and forth, and here we go. Banelings may try to roll on in once more. Ultralists are in position, and now in comes the Broodlords. Vikings nowhere near production. No, sorry, 2 in production right now, but that's not going to be enough, as the Marines and the Marauders need to get underneath all of those Broodlords here, and a crazy attack coming in. Marines dancing back and forth. Ultralists going to be able to clear up all of these siege tanks, as we are now going heavy transition into Marines, as the Marines are better suited against those Broodlords than the Marauders. Zerglings Zerglings and Broodlings trying to finish it off, and it looks as though a couple Marines will be left. 3 Marines finishing off that last Broodlord there, and some very strong micro from Lucifron able to fend off the attack. Zerglings now once again coming in together. Infestor may get off a fungal growth, and there you go, but it was a bad fungal growth, only hitting 3 Marauders and Marines. Corruptors now going after the Medivacs. 1 Medivac down, a second Medivac going to get taken down as well, and now with no more Marines in play, that is going to be no more attacking against those Corruptors. So far, Marines, Marauders, Siege Tanks now trying to engage against all of these Ultralists. Ultralists are going to be going down. Vikings are out. The Corruptors could easily take them down, but there are also Marines on the ground, and as we're going to see... Hold on one moment. Alright, sorry about that. Let's get back into the game here. So we are going to see a whole bunch of Marines, Marauders, and Vikings trying to take down this hatchery over here. It looks like Lucifron has hit the tipping point and is able to push back Bly. Bly just not enough Broodlords fast enough, and now Lucifron responding with triple starports will be able to train up 5 Vikings at a time. Banelings simply rolling through all of these Marines over here. We are going to see, no, Lucifron unable to establish up an expansion over here at the 4 o'clock position, as the Marauders going up against Zerglings. The Zerglings better suited in that matchup, but the Marauders with 4 armor, no slouch either. Okay, Vikings making their way over. Are we going to see perhaps a scanner sweep come in? Lucifron trying to land that one command center still. There you go. Takes down that last Zergling there. And we should see another planetary fortress. Pretty much all of the bases on the map have now been taken, or were taken at one point. Bly down to 163. Vikings on the hunt for some Broodlords, but there are too many Queens on the ground. Those Queens very effective against Vikings, surprisingly, as we see the hatchery has been canceled once again. Broodlings now being dropped off. Ultralists, Banelings, both sides still fighting up, as the Broodlords are now forced to retreat. What's going to be happening here? Ultralists still able to absorb much of that damage, as the siege tanks able to shell away again. Broodlords now trying to turn around. Queens should really be trying to transfuse each other. Yes, able to transfuse each other, perhaps even transfuse some of the Ultralists, as the Ultralists regenerating a lot of life rather quickly. The Vikings now all shot down again, but only 1 or 2 Broodlords are left. Marauders still continuing this push. Another Queen gets taken down here, as the Broodlords are still attacking and taking down Marauders and Marines. Alright, Corruptors looking to engage. Find nothing left, but Bly is currently behind by about 40 supplies. Siege tanks are in retreat. We are at 3-0 upgrades, and now going into Ravens. Lucifron, who was focusing mainly on Marines, now transitioning into Ravens, and with the Corvid reactor should be able to get in very, very heavy Raven count. The problem is that the Ravens will actually be popping out before the Corvid reactor is completed. No bonus energy there at all, as the Corvid reactor has been completed. Hatchery now simply destroyed, and no creep was actually generated, so that is a bit of a surprise, as the Vikings are now hunting for more units. We are going into level 1 weapons upgrades. 3 more Ravens now being added. And Ravens being able to exchange energy for units, always very critical and key, as the Ravens going to be launching Seeker missiles. Where are those Ravens perhaps situated? I don't see them anywhere just quite yet. Are they all over here? Yes, they are. And they are all rallied right here. So 1 Raven currently operational, 2 Ravens part of the army, and they will be able to clean up many of these creep tumors. All right, Vikings now on the hunt again. The Raven still needs a little bit more energy to really be effective. And a straight shot into the Broodlords or even into the Infestors or Banelings would be very, very nice at this point. One siege tank completely destroyed in a matter of seconds. SCVs perhaps going to be sacrificing themselves soon. Yes, and Lucifron actually getting a little bit of help from Bly, as he was also able to eat up a fungal growth. Siege tanks still making their way forward. Do we have enough for some Seeker missiles? No, we do not. And in comes the Queens. Down goes a Broodlord very quickly. A second Broodlord now taken down. Queens now trying to engage, and now there you go, Vikings straight up engaging here. Are we going to see some Seeker missiles? No, that's, point defense drone coming in, and now intercepting all the attacks from all of those Corruptors. The Corruptors completely shot down, and Lucifron, realizing that he didn't have enough energy, just dropped the point defense drone instead, and that is changing the outcome of this completely, as the Corruptors are unable to protect the Broodlords. And now Bly is down to 90 supply. Lucifron playing beautifully here on Ohana, and now able to shut down one of the major expansions. This expansion is now up and operational. Bly has rebuilt it once again, and drones are quickly getting to work, but will they get there in time? You can see there is now 8 Ravens in the air, plenty of Seeker missiles to utilize, and we'll see what's going to be happening here, as Lucifron should be able to just straight up destroy many drones here. We'll see what's going to be happening using a Raven. Oh, there's a fungal growth across all of those Infestors. Siege tanks will be sieging up. Raven's going to be making their way over. They can even try to drop point defense drones if they would like. And now what will be happening next? All right, Corruptors, Marauders going to engage. There you go, the fungal growth landing down. Infestors trying to come in, and another fungal growth on top of so many Ravens. Will the Ravens be able to get away? That is the question, as the infested Terrans are now making their way in. And there is the GG. I really wanted to see much more action off of these Ravens, but one battle with point defense drones. These point defense drones here, still a great turnaround. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 2 in this series, where Lucifron was able to even it up. Stay tuned for Game 3.